We have Manuela in Brazil. Thank you for waiting. You've been on hold for a long time. I greatly appreciate that. You had a question for Jenna and me, and I want to make sure we get to it. So thank you.
Sure. Thank you, guys.
Hello.
Okay, I'm super nervous, but let's
You're
try
fine.
to get through this. My question is, what is a Fergal Burgle and does it have a brain? I'm kidding. Okay.
I am
Okay.
banned. I am prohibited from explaining Fergal to people. I've been sworn to secrecy by the Illuminati.
Oh no.
You just have to take his word for it.
Okay. Cool. Okay. I've been an atheist most of my life. My dad is an atheist. My mom isn't really very religious. But I think the thing about me is I've always really questioned things. My family always jokes about how everything I say turns into a debate because I question, like, okay, why and why and why. And I guess I've grown kind of annoyed by people who don't really question that, especially when it comes to religion, because I do see that as a pretty harmful thing in most ways, like, you know, all the things that come from religion. And I'm not necessarily talking about people who are, you know, diehard religious, more like those people who are just very, like, casual and, you know, just, oh yeah, I believe in this. And I don't know, I guess just how, like, because I have friends who are like that, and I don't want to sound like superior or arrogant, but a lot of times I find myself kind of like not really respecting that and wondering why people don't question that more and why they're so, I don't know. Does that make any sense? I'm trying to like
totally.
phrase it in a way that.
Yeah.
Sorry. Did you? Okay, cool.
No, that makes perfect sense. Can you tell me why it bothers you?
Yeah, I guess like being this person who likes to just research what I believe in. I guess, yeah, that's a hard question to answer. Just it annoys me, I guess, because, like I said, I think a lot of harm comes from religion, and it annoys me when people are just so. I understand when people are, like I said, kind of diehard religious because they come from, I don't know, like everyone's background is different, but for people who are just so, I'm trying to think of the right word, but casual about that. And I guess just like the way to deal with those people and just, because, you know, I don't want to, for people who are like that, it's just hard to have a conversation where it doesn't end with like, okay, why don't you just like research more about that? Or just, I'm sorry, I'm nervous. I'm trying
You're fine.
Phrase it in a.
I think it probably gets more nerve wracking when we let you keep talking instead of, but it's like, so don't get me wrong. I have no problem respecting individuals and their right to believe things, but I definitely have a problem respecting what individuals say and do and what they believe. Like if you say you believe that there is a God, I don't respect that belief. I respect your right to hold it. And I share your frustration with people who don't take this stuff seriously enough to actually investigate. I mean, but that's partly because it's how I was raised. If in fact there is a God, it's the single most important question anybody could address. Is there an afterlife? What kind of afterlife? How do I get there? What do I need to do? And these are all hugely important questions. But what I will tell you is that the thing that used to irritate me, which is irritating you, I know how I got over it. And that was when I met someone who said that they had been an atheist since around the age of 10 or 11, when somebody first sent them to church and it just didn't make sense to them. Now, it's silly for me to say that all of the time they spent not thinking about religion is somehow a failing of theirs if it just didn't make sense to them and they found that it was absurd on its face. Matter of fact, they could argue, why the hell did it take me so long? I was in it from the time I was 5 till I was, you know, early around 30. Why am I so slow that it took me that much time to figure it out? What's wrong with me? And so I realized that because people have different interests, you like to research. I have a friend who likes to research. I like to research some. I like to research things that I'm interested in. it's not just as simple as, hey, I don't like the ice cream you like, because this is an important question to some extent. But I have to say that the 10-year-old who took a look at all this and said, well, this is clearly some bullshit. Why would I want them to spend any more time on it than that? If they got there.
Well, and that's actually kind of the point I was going to make, was that, you know, just if you did find out the reason that it bothers you so much, and like you started off with, well, I like to research. Well, I was like, right there. What if that person doesn't like to research? You know, and if you said you see the harm, what if that person literally hasn't been exposed to the idea that it could be harmful? You know, what if they had only been exposed to people who all believed that it was absolutely necessary to like just to get by? You know, that's what I kind of try to do, is when I try to understand why somebody does something or believes something, I just try to consider, well, maybe they don't have the reasons that I have yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I think, I agree with everything you guys said. You know, it's just like, for example, I lived in New York for a few years, and mostly being in New York, you're around people who have a lot of access to information and to, you know, all those things that will probably lead them to these kinds of answers. But I also, I don't know, it's hard sometimes to just know, because, you know, it's what both of you said, like, it's kind of one of the most important questions you could ask ever about the world and life. And I think sometimes I find myself in the situation where I'm like, I don't want to be pushy, but at the same time, I want to just rant to this person about, like, why do you believe this? You know? And it's kind of annoying sometimes to be around people who just, like, don't want to question that and don't want to think about that. But
well, and I was actually one of those people, because I was basically born under the impression that I was lucky to be born in the right religion. Right? Like, I saved all that time. All these other people have to question and figure this stuff out. But I was lucky I was born into the right one. So I don't have to think about that. I can just go ahead and start here and then just keep growing. So that's what I was exposed to.
Yeah. I don't have a lot to add, Manuela, but I've got one more call I want to try and move to, but hopefully that was helpful. And that I feel your frustration. And part of it is that you're frustrated by the same thing that I'm frustrated by, which is that, how the hell do I keep waking up in a world where so many people don't give a damn and don't pay attention to this stuff? And why won't they just care as much as I do about this thing that I care about? Can't they see how important it is? And I share that frustration, and it will continue until we're dead. But maybe that means that you find something, find your passion, and do that, and address this with the people who do care, like I have.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't want to take you guys take up too much time. Could I tell a tiny story really quickly? Because I feel like you guys would understand why it's funny. But
go ahead.
Like, even though I'm an atheist, I did do First Communion. I think that's what it's called in English. But and I remember one of the guys who did it with me choked on the bread at the moment, and I always thought that was so funny, because it was like Jesus was rejecting him or something. And I guess
I'm allergic to Jesus.
I'm sure that was hard.
Oh, that was actually something in my church. So we had people who had celiac, and they actually were allergic, and that confused the hell out of me.
Yeah. But somebody actually asked about this on Twitter this morning, because we were joking about it, and they're like, you know, if the Eucharist turns into Jesus, how could anybody, you know, have any sort of bad reaction to it? And I was like, because they are sinners who cannot handle the purity of the Lord once that cracker turns into the Jesus. But that required me to put on my Christian hat.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the call. We're going to move on to the final call for today.
Yeah. Go ahead. Cool.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for talking to me.